Welcome back to Berm Peak. I'm Seth, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different, but kind of the same. So I have here in front of me a whole bunch of 3D printed stuff sent to me by the audience. 3D printing is an amazing technology. It has allowed people to produce things that they would have never dreamed of without hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, it's within reach of just normal consumers. If you have the capability of doing a little bit of 3D modeling on a computer, you can basically just print it out. So let's talk a little bit about 3D printing first. So this is a printer. So the way a printer works is it has a print head and it moves along and it lays a little layer of ink on the paper, and then you're left with this. Now what a 3D printer does is it lays layer by layer on top of each other until it builds an object. Now it doesn't use ink, it uses filament, lots of different types of filament, and lots of different types of 3D printers. So one of the things you'll find with 3D printed parts is that they have this texture to them. They're kind of ribbed. That's each layer. You can actually, if you look very closely, see each layer that was laid down during the printing process. And because everything's not being formed in one piece, 3D printed parts tend to not be as strong as, like, let's say injection molded parts. And so 3D printed parts tend to be a good way to prototype things. It's a way to make something quickly so you can check for fitment and keep testing it until it's perfect. Then you can make the real version out of metal or from a real mold. But in recent years, consumer 3D printers have gotten good enough to make some pretty stout parts right from home. And we have some pretty impressive ones to show you today. So this is from Miles from Maryland. It's this pedal that's actually a bottle opener. But this whole thing is really accurate. You have the axis right here, and it looks like you can get a pedal wrench on it. I'm wondering if this will actually screw on a bike. No, it doesn't fit, but that could have been purposely, because if you were to step on this, it wouldn't work. You would crash. But that's not what it's for. It's for opening bottles, so let's try that. Okay, so Max is 13 years old, and he apparently 3D modeled this and got it working. Portable wheel truing caliper. I'm pretty sure I know how it works. Let's bring it over to the bike and see. Strap it right here. Then, as you can see, we can turn this little knob and get this super close to the rim. And now we can spin the wheel. You hear that? You hear how it's nicking the wheel in one spot? It's this one right here. We gotta tighten that spoke and rub should go away. And now it is no longer rubbing. Now we can continue moving this in and in and in until it's perfect. And so his invention absolutely works. Now here's the next part. Kid thought of everything. He used reusable zip ties. You press this little button in and you can take this off and use it again. If you're interested in it, I'll put the information below. So over here, I have stuff from a whole bunch of people. They're all Airtag holders. So when your only tool is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. An Airtag holder is like the perfect thing to make with a 3D printer. And so a lot of people are making it, but a few of these people got really creative. Let me show you. Okay, so they got a little creative, did some packaging, and they call it the Stealth Tag. And this one clips underneath your seat, holds the AirTag right there, and then it gives you a GoPro mount, so it has a dual purpose. That's pretty cool. I just have to find my AirTag. I have it like on a bunch of keys somewhere. Oh, I can use the thing. Oh. Here it is. Stealth Tag. Fits right in here. So you pop that in there. Ooh, nice snug fit. You have these two and they clamp together. So like this, or, okay, it does not go on the rails of the saddle. It actually screws into existing bolts on the saddle. My saddle doesn't have those bolts. What about this one? This is also an ergon saddle, doesn't have those bolts. This is for specialized saddles. I don't have any saddles that this will fit on, but Cool idea. Derek, who has an Etsy shop, has an Airtag holder that is a little bit simpler. I'm gonna show you. We're gonna pop this out. Okay, so now this goes in here, and I suspect that it's never gonna come out ever. Not unless you cut this whole thing apart. So, see that little hole under your steerer tube? I'm gonna put it over here. Probably gonna need a mallet to really get it in there good. That's a tight fit, which is good because you don't want this coming out. Oh yeah, that is never coming out, and that's a really discreet way to hide an Airtag. And there's a whole bunch of people selling them, and so I'll give you all the options in the description. All right, next, what do we got here? Oh, this is awesome. What do you reckon this is? Hi Seth, as you know, getting a face full of spider webs while on the trails is a little annoying. Don't we know? What's worse is the agony of waiting for a safe time to take a hand off the handlebars to wipe the webs away. You mean this? The product attaches to a helmet's visor and can be folded when not needed for catching spider webs. So now to some of you guys, this sounds absolutely crazy, but if you live in a part of the country where it gets warm and there's narrow corridors, if you're on a dawn patrol ride, if you're out there super early in the morning, you are hitting all of the spider webs that have been produced throughout the night from spiders crossing the trail. And so this is gonna keep them out of your eyes. Let's see if it works. Wow. He didn't even know what type of helmet I had, or maybe he did. Appears to work. So they're up like this, and this is shaped such that it kind of snaps down in that position, snaps down in that position, and now it blocks the spider webs from hitting your face. Now, I seem to recall that we once reviewed a product that did the same thing, but it took like the 50-pound sledgehammer approach and strapped 2 giant antennas to your lowers. This I could get behind. So I must admit, I was unprepared for this. I didn't have a bunch of fake spider web in my inventory, but yeah, these are pretty stout. This would definitely block a spider web from getting in your face. And if this kid tested this as good as he did for fitment, I'm sure it works. Let me like stick my face in the bushes or something and see if this works. I'm impressed, pretty ingenious. He says, my concern is that although it works very well, it's not too aesthetically pleasing. Bob, dude, this is fine. If you saw the Web Blazer, you would not be worried about that. This one's my favorite. These are water bottle cages for Nalgene bottles. So Aaron and Brecken Hall developed this, and these are phenomenally built and designed. They're stout, they're printed really, really well. They have lots of mounting holes. Side-loaded, holds 32 ounces of water, fits in absolutely perfectly. We're gonna test that. So let's throw this here full bottle into the hardtail, send the slope style course, and see if it stays in. Okay, so that worked apparently, and I didn't really feel all the excess weight. That would give me a really good feeling. Not having to wear a backpack, having this much water, I'm a big fan of this, but I do have some concerns. So first of all, I suspect that this might not fit on some full suspension bikes, especially small sized ones, because sometimes the shock or parts of the frame just clear the bottle, and this is a lot thicker. So for gravel bikes and hardtails, you're not gonna have a problem. But my other concern is with the material. So it's 3D printed. What happens when it's cold out? It's a nice 60-degree day right now, but what if it's like 25 Fahrenheit? This thing gets all brittle. Is it gonna crack? I don't know. So any of you guys that wanna buy the stuff in this video that I'm linking to, you're early adopters just like me. We don't know how this stuff is gonna hold up long term, but I think this is a really, really cool product, and I am absolutely leaving this on my hardtail. And here is an invention from somebody who we featured on the channel before. So Josh from Pro Bike 3D, according to him, this audience has made a massive impact on his business. He is the kid that made the chin mount for that Fox Pro frame that you can put a GoPro on, and I still use this to this day, and he made some additional mounts for GoPro. This guy is just smart, right? So on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, you gotta film vertically, and not everybody wants to do it with a phone. Some people wanna do it with a GoPro, but the problem is the mount on the GoPro is on the side, not over here, and he built an adapter for it. And so you put your Hero 10 in here, he's got ones for other sizes, fits perfectly, you can lock it into place right over there, and now you can mount it vertically. So he's just on a roll coming up with stuff that's actually really useful. I might actually use these. So here's another homegrown business, Stealth ID. So what they do is they print whatever you want on stem spacers. So here they put the Berm Peak logo on there, and you can use it on your steerer tube to set the height of your handlebars. And they have a spot on the inside of it where they can put your phone number, your bike serial number. So now if your bike is stolen, you have proof. You can say to the police, hey, look, take that stem spacer off right over there, and it's gonna have all this information on the inside, and I know that for a fact it's gonna be there. And the police are gonna say, what's a stem spacer? All right, so I know what you're gonna say. Seth, you should get a 3D printer. Not yet, not yet. When I do it, I'm gonna do it right. I don't have the time to dive into that bottomless pit right now. However, happy to take your creations and review them on the channel. Keep them coming. Can't promise I'm gonna feature them all or give you a shout out, but the really interesting ones, I'd love to put those in a video and share them with the rest of the audience. If you wanna send your 3D printed invention, just get in touch with me on my website. I'm gonna leave information in the description as well. And thanks for riding with me today. I'll see you next time.